Well, hello, winners. This is Coach BU coming to you live today at 11 o'clock with one of my current clients, Miss Antwynette. And so, welcome, Antwynette, to the stage. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. I am so excited that you've had an opportunity to make some time to come live. So, I am going to let Antwynette tell us about herself, where she lives, where she practices, and exactly what do you do as a reflexologist? What is that?
So I live in North Georgia. I live in Saltine Cucci. It's about 10 minutes from Helen. And my office is in Cornelia, which is about 20 minutes from my house. I'm a certified reflexologist, which a lot of people have no clue about. The
Mm-hmm.
easiest way to explain it is to give them something they are comfortable and know about, and that would be
Okay.
massage. Massage works directly on the muscles and the connective tissue and produces a relaxed effect. Well, reflexology is like a cousin because it goes through the nervous system. First and foremost, calming down the central nervous system. So, anybody out there that's dealing with high stress, that just cannot relax, dealing with sleep issues, pain, inflammation, reflexology can help with all of that.
Awesome. So you can help with pain management. What about muscle cramps and muscle, like you get those leg cramps as we get older in our
Well,
years?
that's where I come in educating the client,
Mm-hmm.
explaining what the most common reasons for those are and giving them the tools so that they can take care of the problem themselves. I
Oh,
believe in empowering my clients.
awesome. It's kind of the same way I believe in empowering my clients. And so when we come in to this beautiful live testimony of Antoinette, let me tell the audience a little bit of why I like to do live testimonies. And I don't make them real short and 15 minutes and things of that nature because I really want people to know exactly, not saying that Antoinette's a horse from the horse's mouth, though, what they experience throughout the coaching journey because the Breakthrough for Life goal is to transform 1 million lives with life coaching. And the only way that I can do that is when people realize that Breakthrough for Life is not giving you a dog and pony show, get your money and run. No, we are results coaches and we want to get the result for our clients that the client wants to get. And so when you think about the life coaching journey, what made you decide to get life coaching with Breakthrough for Life? Because I know when you Google life coach or business coach, there's a plethora of options out there for you to choose from. So, what made you decide, yes, Breakthrough for Life is the place that I'm going to invest in myself through Breakthrough for Life? Why Breakthrough for Life?
Your steak dinners on Tuesday night. I started watching them and realizing that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. I knew I didn't know enough and I knew I didn't know how to go forward. But I
Mm-hmm.
started watching you every single week and taking notes. And I mean, it was amazing. You were doing this for free. You have a business, but you were doing this every Tuesday for free.
Yeah, trust
I
me, my
mean, that
team.
was huge because you don't run a one size fits all. Everything you do is absolutely customized to the client right in front of you. I have watched you totally change direction and take a left in Albuquerque when things were starting to just really pile up and not move forward. And that's the beauty of what you do. You're dual coach, your life coach and business coach. And so many hindrances in business kind of start over on the life side. So you're able to address both and continue moving forward. And that has been huge for me.
And that
Huge.
is thank you so much for sharing that, Antoinette, because I'm gonna tell you that Being a dual certified life coach, everybody told me, oh, you just need to focus in one lane, one vein, one this. And I was like, yeah, I know that's the norm, but I'm a nonconformist. And I said, I want to be dual certified because of what you just said. Oftentimes, our business issues or our lack of launching a new product or service um, stems from something that's going on in the core of our hearts. I like to say I'm a results coach, but nobody Googles that, so I have to say life coach. But but in real life, I'm a soul surgeon. That's what I do.
Yes.
Where's the cancer in your heart that is keeping you from living the life you want? And I'm the soul surgeon that goes in and identifies that cancer, and we dig it out and we help you heal so that you can activate the winner in you and live the life that you were really designed to win.
That's the key word, though. We. You can't sit back and you don't do all the work. You give the tools, you really pinpoint the problem and expose it. So if someone is really looking for change, you're the girl. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I mean, if they're not ready to do the work, then they've got to be there before they're going to get results.
Absolutely. And, I love working with you because Antwynette, you'll be like, this is hard, this is difficult. You can be honest. You don't have to fluff my feathers. You don't have to make me feel good, because this isn't about, oh, Brenda, you're a great coach. No, this is about, I'm going to judge how well of a coach I am by the results that you get. And 95% of all my clients that take action, eliminate excuses, get out their usual routine, and are open and coachable, those 95 that do that, they get their results. The 5% that don't get the results are people who refuse to take action and eliminate excuses, get out of their usual routine, and be open and coachable. They want to tell me everything they know. And then I'm like, okay, if you know all that, then are you applying all that? Right?
Bingo.
And so you talk about the steak dinners that we have on Tuesday nights. Um, I ran 6 months strong. I puckered out in the middle of June, but I ran 6 months strong with live. So what she's talking about when she says steak dinners, these steak dinners are when I will sit down for an hour 15 sometimes, and I will break down one concept: decision fatigue, toxic thinking, stress, ultimate goal achievement, how to get balance, work-life balance from the bedroom to the boardroom. And that was a whole series. And we call it a steak dinner because most of what you see on social media are really short clips. And I'm not knocking it. You guys are going to see some short clips from my long form videos here soon. But my whole point is it's a steak dinner because we're not giving you just bite-sized slivers of tools. I am open up the entire arsenal, and I am breaking things down for you so that you can go get a breakthrough in your life now. A breakthrough in your life for life, not a band-aid. And so that's what she's referring to when she talks about the steak dinners. And we're having a steak dinner tonight about toxic positivity. Now, I was on the phone with my prayer partner when I was flushing out this toxic positivity topic that we're going to talk about Tuesday night, July 1st at 7:30, right here, wherever you see me, we will be here. And she said, I had never heard of toxic positivity before. So let me ask you, Antwynette, outside of me, have you ever heard of the phrase toxic positivity?
No.
No.
When I
Have
saw
you?
the headliner, I had to start asking myself and then maybe doing a little poking around because it's two words that don't go together in a general conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But once you understand the concept, you realize you have one of those in your life.
Yes. And one of the things about toxic positivity, I didn't know, I had never heard of the phrase until last year when I was with someone who literally, and I was going through a really, really rough time. And I literally couldn't express anything negative about it. I couldn't, everything was be positive, don't say nothing negative, don't let nothing. And it's like, I can't even process this emotion. It forced me to suppress it. And she was such a sweet woman, and I know her intentions were well, but I literally was like, this is suffocating to me because my heart is broken and my heart is hurt, and I need to process through these emotions so that these emotions don't become embedded in my subconscious and I keep repeating this cycle. And
Exactly.
and so it's funny because I went to some sources to just process what I was going through. And they was like, oh, that's toxic positivity, Brenda. I was like, what's toxic? I've never heard of that. I've never heard of toxic positivity prior to January of 2024. I mean, December of 2024. And so I start to dig into it. And it's the funniest thing. I'm reading a book. You know, I read a book a week. And the book that I'm reading this week talked about, and I'm going to give just one little sliver and we're going to get back to your testimony, but this is about the steak dinner. This is what brought Antwynette into my circle. Now, I met Antwynette 3-4 years ago at a ministry event, and
Mm-hmm.
we kind of kept in contact through social media. But when I look at this toxic positivity, um, Sean Archer says happiness is not about being blind to the negatives in our environment. It's about believing we have the power to do something about them. But then he goes on to say irrational optimism. An irrational optimist has a vision of reality based on desire and delusion, not how things actually are. And I thought, this is a scientist who talks about happiness. He's the happiness scientist. And he's a Harvard grad. And here he's talking about irrational optimism, toxic positivity. I'm like, okay, I'm on to something here, something new, something cutting edge, something that people hadn't heard before. And I really want to equip people with that. So if you're watching now, make sure you plug in at 7:30 tonight. Come to our live. I'm going to literally be bringing people on the stage if they're willing to talk about their experience of when have you felt like you had to stay positive when you were going through heart wrenching hard times. And I put a survey out on all my social media platforms, and a lot of people are saying, yes, I've had to stay positive when my mom died. I had to stay positive when my husband left. I had to stay positive when my wife cheated, and I didn't get a chance to process the pain.
Right.
Now, being a reflexologist, what happens when we take stress and we just suppress it and don't process it? What happens to our body?
If you don't process things like emotions, then that gets stored in your body. It literally has been proven it's stored on a cellular level. So now you've got tight muscles no matter what you do. You exercise, you stretch, you're taking your vitamins, you're eating right, but you just can't relax. You can't, your quality of sleep goes down. I mean, it has so many effects on the body, and all of them are negative.
Yes, yes. So we're going to talk a lot about that tonight at 7:30. But let's get back to Antoinette's testimony about working with Breakthrough for Life. Now, like I said, she's a current client. She's not at the end of her journey. She's in the middle of her journey, actually at the closer beginning of her journey. So let me explain. First, she had did I give you a free clarity call or did you invest for that?
Yeah, it was a free clarity call.
Okay, I gave her a free clarity call because she had come to every one of my Tuesday night steak dinners. And I love to under promise and over deliver. So I gave her a free clarity call. Tell me, what was your experience with that free clarity call?
Well, I didn't know what to expect. And the first few minutes we were talking, and you were trying to get a sense of what I was expecting, but I didn't have any expectations. I didn't know what I wanted to work on. So we kind of circled around a little bit. But once I decided on, my business, then, you really started asking questions. And it these are questions I hadn't even considered. So you really gave me a lot to think about, but these questions gave you answers on how to point me in the right direction. I mean, I had nothing but a blank slate. I was answering your questions, and you were putting in the background, you were putting together the step by step what I needed to do. And each of those steps had different steps, and each of those steps you identified different hurdles. I mean, It was literally a blueprint. And it was amazing because it made me think outside of this box I had been in, to think bigger, to think, I had limited myself so much and didn't understand what was even possible. And you just blew it wide open.
Yes,
So
and so
it just, yeah.
the clarity coaching session, which is a 90-minute one-time coaching session. It has no follow-up. It has no support afterwards. It's just a one and done. And that particular session is for people really to experience that coaching can have a breakthrough in one session. Now, it may not be the breakthrough where you have a six-figure business, but the big promise for the one-time clarity coaching session is that you walk away with an ultimate goal achievement blueprint. Did you walk away with that ultimate goal achievement blueprint?
Yes, I did. I
And
did.
what was your biggest breakthrough from that one 90-minute coaching session?
That I get in my way a lot.
Tell me more.
You know, you've got these mindsets that your body and your brain operate on. And if you don't know all of these limiting beliefs and the things that are holding you back, you're literally self-sabotaging every time you turn around. And you can tread water and tread water and tread water, but eventually you're going to get tired of treading water. And this was a life rope. I mean, it helped me stop treading water. Now I want to be there like that. And you keep reminding me that it's going
Rome
to take
wasn't built in
time.
a day. Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
But when I look at where I am from where I started in March, I am just amazed. I mean, amazed at the
So,
differences.
so one of the things that prompted her to move on from what prompted you to invest in the Jumpstart 3-session program from the clarity session? Why did you say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead now that I've had this free 90-minute session and I have a goal achievement blueprint that I can now run with? And we did a goal achievement blueprint for her business. Literally in the clarity coaching session, you can do a goal achievement blueprint for anything: your marriage, weight loss, your career, your business, whatever. We did hers for business. So my question to you, Antwynette, is from that clarity coaching session, what made you say, I'm going to go and make an investment in the Jumpstart 3-session coaching journey?
Well, if you remember, I told you no. And you're
Yes.
like, okay. And then I went to meet some friends for dinner. And, I've got this conversation going in my head. What are you thinking? Are you kidding? You can't do this by yourself. You don't know everything. This person can help you. You've seen what she's already done. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't value yourself, value your business, invest in yourself. And that was really something that you gently said and let it ride. You didn't hammer the point. You just planted that little seed. And I realized it really was about investing in myself, valuing myself and wanting something different. And that's when I called you back. Is the offer still on the table?
And so, of course, she called back in 24 hours. My quick action discounts are pretty significant, and they're designed to get you to make a decision, because they say if when you walk away from a client consultation or a discovery call and you don't take action within 24 hours, over the next 72 hours, you will talk yourself out of the benefits.
Absolutely.
And so I try to help people hijack that and get jump started into goal achievement. So you went through 3 sessions of Jumpstart. What impact did that have on your business?
I think it was more of a personal impact that rolled into the business. I
Okay, tell
mean,
me more.
we were doing the bit. Well, we were facing some personal challenges that I had. I mean, I hadn't dealt with some grief. I hadn't dealt with a lot of things. And I was always placing myself last. My value was the least. And seeing myself in a different perspective, I mean, you don't give answers, you ask questions, and it makes me think. And then I come up with the answers, or I pray about the answers and I get the answers, and then I move forward. It's it's a partnership. Absolutely a partnership. And what you said about the 24 hours is absolutely correct. When I started typing up my notes and setting, this day, this day, this day, this day, I was doing so much more. I was so much more efficient than the typical fly by the seat of the pants that I was running.
And so it helped you get organized in your thoughts. Is that
Yes, definitely.
it helped you gain clarity on your
Yes.
business? Okay. And so in that jump start, she then eventually decided, yes, I'm going to do a 10-week journey. And those are the intensives, right? The 10-week journey is where we make the promise that we're going to transform your life in one area of your life. The others, it's called a jump start program because it jump starts you, just like jumping off a car, but it doesn't sustain you. If the alternator or the starter is messed up, then you're going to pucker out again. But when you
Hmm.
go into an intensive program, the design that is designed so that you get a breakthrough for life and not a band-aid for now, and you don't ever go back to what you did. So coming out of the jump start, if I remember correctly, when we sat down to meet for lunch, you said that you had just had the most productive and most client filled week you have had in your business. Is that accurate?
Oh, absolutely. I started my business in 2016, and coming out of the jump start, I had my highest grossing week ever. And
Highest grossing week.
it wasn't difficult. It wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't working 12 hours a day either.
Hmm. And that's a big thing. I'm really big about Proverbs 10:22. And Proverbs 10:22 says, the blessing of the Lord brings wealth and he adds no trouble to it. So if you have to be a part of that grind culture where you work, 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 and you sleep, you work, you sleep, you work, you sleep, you work. And some folks ain't even sleeping. They're just working, 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 which is not good for the body. There's a reason why God has us sleep. Your sleep is not lazy, it's restorative, but
Yes.
everything in balance, right? And so when I coach my business owners, small business owners, my whole design is to get them to gain clarity on vision, to help them to be resourceful. That means don't let what you don't know keep you from implementing what you do know. And for you to have some work life balance. That means organization. That means because the more you have to do, the more organized you need to be. That means to really help you map out what is it that you need? What's your focus zone? What's your energy zone? When are you most creative and optimized to create new programs, systems, or processes within your business? And so we spent a lot of time doing some mindset work with her
Hmm.
in those sessions. And these sessions are usually an hour to 75 minutes or an hour to 15, and it has high, healthy accountability. So, what was it like looking back and saying, man, I had my highest week, gross revenue week in the first time in how many years? In 9 years of my business.
It was awesome. I mean, it's like having filet mignon for the first time. It was, and then, our next session, we talked about it, and you're like, and how would you like that every week? And again, even though we had talked about it and it was a concept, it didn't hit reality until you asked me that question. And it was just another aha moment. And I was like, I mean, I was blown away.
And that was just in 4 coaching sessions.
Hmm.
So now she signs up for the 10 week. and we're at the very beginning of her 10-week session. Tell me, what has the one-on-one coaching, weekly coaching, what impact has that had on your life?
Well, first of all, there's the accountability. I mean, you give action steps, and those steps need to be done. And at the very beginning, I was kind of lazy with it. I didn't do anything until like 2 days before it was due. And then, I'm recognizing that pattern. So I start changing that. But having the accountability and knowing that if I get stuck, I can reach out. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't done that yet, and I've been stuck more than once. But knowing that this is not one-sided has been huge for me. I don't have to have all the answers. I need to start learning to use my resources. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. And that's what you bring to the table. I mean, you're not bringing me all the answers. You're helping me discover the answers. But I'll tell you, that's empowering. For someone who hasn't felt like they had any power, that's huge.
Oh, wow. Say that again. For someone who felt like what?
For someone who hasn't felt like they've had any power, being given these tools, and even if it's baby steps. I mean, I never celebrated wins. All I did was look at what wasn't done still. And you were very adamant. We're going to celebrate wins. And you would go over the top with the maracas. And the first couple of times you did it, I just gave you this look. And then I started to smile. And now when you do it, I wiggle in the chair too. Celebrating your wins when you've had a difficult time in life, when, things have been dark for a long time, those wins, I don't care how small they are, they're a win and they need to be celebrated.
And I want to talk a little bit about the small wins. What gets rewarded gets repeated. We hear that all the time. But in America, we are grind, grind, grind. Go get that degree, then get that job, then get married, then have kids, then buy a house. And it's like, do I ever get to breathe and celebrate how much progress we have? This is why we're having to medicate ourselves with alcohol or prescription drugs or illegal drugs. And then we need to have stimuli to wake up. We got to have the coffee and the mojo to wake up, because we are grinding so hard all the time. We never take time to say, you know what, I've come a long way. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I've been.
Exactly. And the other thing is, even when I would take time down and rest, I was always stressing about everything. I never enjoyed my personal time. And you, again, have through things that you've said and things that you've helped me understand, there's nothing wrong with the phrase work hard, play hard. But I was working hard and stressing hard. There was no play and relax and restoration at all in that. And it's baby steps, but I am learning to relax and be completely stress-free. When I'm working, I'm working. And when I'm not working, I'm not working.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, I got friends right now who are mad at me because, one thing that I've learned is when you're doing business with friends, it blurs a lot of lines. And I love them. I love them. I want to first say I love them. I appreciate them in my life. They are instrumental in who I am today. But one thing I've learned with doing business with friends is that every time I talk to them, they want to talk about business. And I need to mentally disengage for at least 2 days from business, any talk about it, at all. Because when you're mentally still engaged with business, you're not having guilt-free playtime. And guilt-free playtime is a Neil Foray concept that comes from his book, The Now Habit, which helps people bust through fear and kill and deflate fear so that they can crush procrastination, so that they can be proactive people in the earth. And one of the things that I learned really early on is that we have to have guilt-free playtime, and that means you have to disconnect. This is why I have two phones. The red phone is work. The black phone is personal. If you call this black phone, do not talk to me about work. Do not talk to me about whatever business we're talking about. But when you call this red phone, it's all business. And I really had to have a demarcation line to maintain work-life balance. Otherwise, because I love what I do, I would work nonstop until I totally hit the wall and burnt out. And so I'm glad you shared, Antwynette, the impact of those small win rewards and learning how to totally mentally disconnect from work so that you can recharge and refuel and
Mhm.
refire back to work better. So tell me, now that you've learned how to disconnect from work and get your guilt-free playtime, what impact has that had when you go back to work?
Oh my gosh. It's, I can't even give you a percent factor. I'm more efficient, I'm more focused, and I'm more flexible. I mean, when bumps come up or clients change or whatever, I handle it. It's not the end of the world. It's not, get mad and throw a hissy fit. It's not wanting to shut down because things aren't going my way. I mean, it's just okay, and you move forward.
And the beauty of the healthy accountability, I want to talk about that a lot. A bit. I'm sorry, not a lot. Healthy accountability. When we think about accountability, we all think slaps on the hand, parent child relationship. Why didn't you do your action steps? What's wrong with you? Do you want these results or not? This is not that at Breakthrough for Life.
No.
Healthy accountability at Breakthrough for Life is a partnership. I don't treat you like a child. You are a grown adult. And then what will happen if someone doesn't do their action steps with me? My goal is to help you get out of your way. So I know there's going to be occasions where people don't want to show up for themselves. And so my goal is to help you to see the worth in showing up for yourself, not with unhealthy accountability, but with healthy accountability to make you WIIFM, what's in it for me. Help you see what impact, positive impact, would that action step have had on you? What impact would, if you had completed that, with that, what fruit could that bring to you? And then really getting honest about, do you see it as an obligation or an opportunity to grow?
Exactly. That was a huge learning step for me because everything I did was pure obligation. Nothing was an opportunity. It was all obligation. Everything I had to do was all weighed in how much time it would take, how much energy and effort it would take. And, that's not living. That is not living.
I had a friend of mine years ago when I worked at Omni, which was a Toshiba subsidiary. Brian Mold and Tanya Sherman, my Omni folks, Michael Bates, Cynthia Rogers, Suzette Daniels, Tony Jukes, and Ken Hancock, and this last one, Anthony Barber. I just knew I was going to marry this man, Anthony Barber. He was so fine, Antwynette. But this is my Omni crew. And I remember Anthony Barber told me years ago, and me and him are not in communication anymore. But back when I first moved here in 1998, I just thought Anthony Barber was the lick. And we became really close friends, but we never dated. But I remember him telling me one day, he said, Brenda, you work hard at what you do for Omni. Why are you just working to pay bills? And when I tell you, him asking me that question hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, that's all I do is I go to work, I go home and I pay bills, and I go to work and I go home and I pay bills. Then I
Yeah.
went to go to work, go home, go to church, pay bills. And so that became the cycle. Then it was go to work, go home, go to church, go to night school, and pay bills. I mean, and it was just one obligation after another obligation. And then
Hmm.
I started to say, I need to learn how to enjoy life. So, Anthony Barber, if you're ever listening to this, I'm sure he's married. He's a very good looking guy, very well astute. So, I'm sure he's married. I hope you're having a beautiful marriage. But I want to say thank you for asking me that one pivotal question that was literally a catalyst to help me change my life. And now I incorporate that to help my clients change their lives. And so, how has that helped you to enjoy your life at a different level?
Well, first of all, like I said, when you've been in a dark space for a while, call it a season, whatever, you you stop noticing what's around you. You stop realizing how much you have to be grateful for, and you push away your support system. I call it turtling. I just totally withdrew. And I had friends that were praying for me, friends that gave me my space, but after a while you get sick of your existence. And what you've done is you've challenged my thinking, challenged my perceptions, and so many things that were obligations, they're not obligations anymore. I get to serve, I get to help, and they're truly opportunities. I mean, it's like waking up after a long sleep. I mean, so many of the way I used to think is completely different. I mean, I'm not where I want to be, but before I couldn't even see anything in the future. All I could see was the now. I couldn't, you're like, well, what's the ultimate goal? I don't know. Well, what's your dream day? I don't dream anymore. I mean, you had to work to get me to think and to help move me outside of my thinking. But it has been so worth it. And there were some crying sessions. There were some hard sessions. There was some hard homework. But it has been so rewarding.
Awesome. And we're just at session 7.
I
So
know.
we're just at session 7. And when I say session 7, that includes her free clarity session. That includes 3 sessions from the Jumpstart. And then she had a free session for giving a testimony. And then, so we're really on session 2 of her barrier breaking program. It's a total of 7 in her coaching journey with Breakthrough for Life. But at the end of the day, it has been a session of removing mental roadblocks. And so, what mindset blocks have you overcome in the past 7 sessions?
A big one was understanding my concept and my thoughts about money. I had no idea how much of a scarcity mindset I had and how much I looked negatively towards money. You're not going to make money if you think money's bad, but you didn't just tell me money's not bad. You gave me biblical verses that I can go back to, that I can study, that I can pray about. And it changed everything.
So what she's talking about here is my money mindset modules. It's designed to help you shift your thermostat. First, where is your money mindset at? So we do this exercise, and I utilize life sheets in my business. So you say you got a problem, I got a life sheet for it. And those life sheets, it'll be like, okay, we're going to do this life sheet called money mindset mining. And when we look at money mindset mining, we really get to the core of how you see money. And my job as a coach, a real coach, let me educate y'all. A real coach is not going to tell you what to do. That's what mentors do. A real coach helps you cultivate what's the right answer for you to do for your life based on your dreams, your aspirations, your values, your belief system, not Brenda's. We're not trying to create a bunch of mini Brenda's out there. We're trying to create a bunch of activated, unique individuals, because your uniqueness is your superpower.
And there's a big difference between the two.
Huge difference, because a mentor is going to tell you what to do. A coach is going to tap into what God told you and put in you and activate that forward. It's literally like each client is a well of water, And the water is at the bottom underneath disappointment, rejection, abandonment, discouragement, failure, all the stuff, those rocks. And as a life coach, I come in and I help you push each of those rocks out so that the water of the Holy Spirit can come bubbling up and overflowing.
I agree.
Big difference than mentoring. And so when we talk about the money mindset mining, we go through a series, one, to assess where is your money mindset. Then I equip them with biblical scriptures of what God says about money. And then I take them on some exercises to see how does that money, your money mindset, how has it been impacting it? And what do we need to do to shift your money mindset? And in that shifting of your money mindset, did it take you 3 years, 4 months, 90
No.
days?
So, society teaches you that breakthroughs are going to take this and that and all this. No, breakthroughs happen when you make a decision. You show the truth. And a lot of times, like you said, it's by asking questions and bringing it out of the person. A lot of times we know our truth, but we've lived in a lot of muck and mire. And bringing that truth forward, we recognize it when we see it. So it's like taking off a coat that doesn't fit anymore. It can be instantaneous. Not everything is instantaneous, but a lot of it for me has been.
hmm And one of the things that I say often is, and people are always shocked when I say it, is breakthrough doesn't take all day. Breakthrough takes as long as it takes you to make a decision and be committed to and with resolve to change. Breakthrough doesn't take all day. What is the longest healing in the Bible? The longest healing in the Bible are the lepers who were healed as they walked. Everyone else, the moment they encountered Jesus, their life changed instantly. And God said, we will do greater things than this. So part of me helping people get a breakthrough for life is helping people see that you have to believe that you can get a breakthrough, like a breakthrough of water quickly and not take a year and a half to 5. And so that is a mindset shift in and of itself. And when you can own that you can get a breakthrough in one coaching session, it almost becomes addictive to getting those breakthroughs.
Yes. But in a good way. In a good way.
Yes, yes. So Antwynette, I'm going to holler out Anika Brown, who is a client of mine from 4 or 5 years ago. I remember we had a very pragmatic, problem solving session about business, and she didn't get one of those soul heart breakthroughs. And she had been coaching with me for about, you know, 12 weeks at this point. She was in a 1 year program. And she said, Brenda, this is the first session I've had in 15 sessions where I didn't get a breakthrough. And I said, okay, that's okay. She said, no, it's not. I'm addicted for 15 sessions. I know when I meet with you, breakthrough, breakthrough, breakthrough. She goes, yeah, I got a plan to do my business, but there ain't nothing sexy about the plan. It ain't made me feel great. It didn't give me an epiphany. It gave me a roadmap. And I said, sometimes strategy isn't sexy. It isn't emotionally charged, but you need to have a plan in order to get to the place where you can be emotionally charged. And this was
Mhm.
after 15 sessions. And so the breakthroughs can become very addictive, especially when you have support that gives you a safe place to just be who you are with no ought, no should, and no judgment.
Yeah, you've had to remind me multiple times about the judgments and things. But I'm getting a
hmm
lot better. A lot
hmm
better. And the other thing that was kind of surprising to me is, going through the action steps, changing perceptions. At first, I was doing only what you told me to do.
hmm
And then because I was getting my wins and I was seeing results, then I started stepping sideways and learning more about this and stepping the other way and learning more about this. And I don't want to use the word addictive, but it is so comforting, step by step. I mean, it's building confidence that, I can't was I can't and I don't know were the two phrases you heard the most from me at the very beginning. And I
Absolutely.
think at this point, you won't hear them anymore.
Antoinette in 7 weeks has come a mighty long way. But I want to give her her flowers because she came a mighty long way, not because I told her what to do. A lot of her action steps we came up with together.
Hmm.
And she did the due diligence to get it done after the session. In between the coaching sessions is where the magic happens. When you put your feet to the floor and you get it done and you start taking the steps, are huge ways to combat fear and increase confidence. And so I want to give Antoinette. So when you do your action steps, I do a dance for you. And sometimes I'll
Hmm.
stand up and dance. Sometimes because we're going to celebrate that you're showing up for you in a way you've never shown up for you before. Because many people don't have a safe place to just be because they may be surrounded by a bunch of people who are like, be positive, don't say nothing negative. They never get a chance to process the pain.
Yeah.
And has Breakthrough for Life given you an opportunity to process some pain?
Yes, it really has. And not in, my way of processing it was to shove it down and shove it down and shove it down because I needed to be X, Y, or Z for the people around me. But that didn't do any good for me. And then it would come up at the most inopportune times.
Hmm.
And, processing it doesn't mean you have to go through it again. Processing it just means you have to recognize that it exists.
Absolutely.
It's not, you don't have to go through all of the exact same pain, but you need to recognize that it was there to be able to release it.
Absolutely. 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 So, what tool has helped you the most in your business growth?
Good gracious, there is no one single tool. You're the tool. There is no one single thing. I can't say it's the action states. I can't say it's the videos you send. It, it's everything. Your coaching has been the tool because there's not a single breakthrough. I have breakthroughs during the week that you started the ball on. I mean, there is no single thing.
Well, thank you so much. That is a great compliment because many coaches, you only see them when you are in your session. How does it feel to know that you have access to a coach during your whole coaching journey? If you get stuck, you can call, you can text, you can email. In between, I'm calling you, texting you, emailing you. How does it
You are.
feel to be fully supported in your journey to win at life?
It's amazing because it's not that I haven't felt supported, but having accountability and support at the same time, that's a powerful combination. I mean,
Mhm.
I'll start out the session, well, I didn't. And you'll go, nope, nope, we're not talking about what you did. You didn't do. We're going to talk about what you did do now. And
Mhm.
then, we'll slip into why you didn't do it. And, sometimes there's just so many emotions that were coming up for me. I would get overwhelmed. And because I was overwhelmed, I just walked away. And that was several sessions early on. But we've looked into that, and looking into it with somebody made it doable. Because when I would get so overwhelmed, my reaction was shut down. That's how I've been the last 5 years. And I felt safe that I didn't have to shut down. And you gave me that comfortable, safe space to say, okay, let's sit with this a minute. How does this make you feel? What are you going to do about it? I mean, you didn't just say, this is the way it is. You gave me time to explore it in a safe environment that's priceless.
And so what she's talking about there is when you are dealing with some emotion in your heart, it's coming to the surface for a reason. And I believe that God puts his finger on something when he's ready to heal it. So when it comes up, the whole agenda, program, and plan goes out the window, and we need to address what's coming up at the moment. That's why
Mhm.
I am a custom coach. I'm not a box coach. This isn't cookie cutter 7 steps to success. This is what does Antwynette need in this moment to propel her forward into her success. And one of the things that I do is I try to empathetically listen and not judge what I hear. I'm gonna tell you, I had a friend recently judge me pretty harshly on something, and although I forgave her, I don't feel safe to expose a lot to her anymore. I mean, it's very few people that I'll share a lot with, but when I feel judged, I go back, and most people do. They shrink back
Mhm.
when they feel judged. And the goal of coaching is to give you a safe place. So for you to process your stuff, not tell you what to do with those emotions, but help you go through what it looks like for you to get to the other side of that emotion.
Definitely.
And so, one of the things that is really important, if you're an aspiring life coach out there, and I have a new class starting July 12th that you can still get into, we learn how to honor who people are, not make them conform to who we think they should be. And there are 3 things that keep people from taking action. One is when you tell them what to do, they have to go through these 3 things. They have to go, do I believe you? Do I trust that what you're saying is going to work for me? And do I trust you? And those are subconscious things that they don't even know they're going through when you tell them, oh, go do this. And that's why mentoring usually takes a little bit longer to get results than coaching does, because the opposite side of that is you ask powerful, pivotal questions that make people go beyond the surface, get to the deep root that's in their heart, pull that
Yes.
root up, process that root, and let's see, can we do a paradigm shift in how you see that event that is going to tell you a story that you tell yourself that's more empowering and less disabling.
Exactly. That was very well said.
Thank you. And that's what a trained, real coach learns how to do. It is, yes, people say, Brenda, you're gifted. Yes, I am called to coaching, but the power is knowing how the psyche works. This is transformative coaching on the cognitive level. This is not behavior modification. So with
No.
that being said, what would you say to someone on the fence about business life coaching with Breakthrough for Life?
Do it. Do it. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're going for coaching for. Value yourself enough. It may mean tightening the budget belt a little bit, but I cannot express in words how much it's changed my life. And everybody's got things to work on. You don't always know how to move forward. Brenda's going to help you figure out how to move forward. She's going to help you reach your goals, even if everybody else is telling you those goals are insane. You can trust her to tell you and keep your feet on the ground. But
Awesome.
it's amazing.
And this is what I want to share with you guys. If you are looking for a reflexologist and you are in the Cornelia area, how do they get a hold of you, Antwynette?
They can go to my website, fullcirclereflexology.com, or they can call me on the phone, 770-654-9927. If they want to email me, if they have questions, they can text, or they can use Antwynette at fullcirclereflexology.com, and I'll respond.
Awesome. Well, if you are interested in reflexology, please reach out to Antwynette if you are in the Cornelia, Georgia area. Please check out her website and see what reflexology is all about. If she's not in your area, her website can help educate you on how to find someone in your area. So you can learn what reflexology is and then go find someone in your area who does it if you can't get to Cornelia. And so what I'd like to do is thank Antwynette so much for your time. I know she has another appointment she has to run off to. So I want to thank you so much for coming and doing this live testimony, sharing your breakthrough, sharing your experience with Breakthrough for Life. And you mentioned you may have to tighten the budget a bit. If you had it to do all over again, would you reinvest?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Changing the way I think about things. I mean, not even realizing I have these limiting thoughts. I was sassy with you. I gave you a range, and then you're like, well, if you're going to make a range, you're never going to get it. So I just threw a number out, and you're like, okay, do you realize that means you only have to do so many clients a month? It blew me away. It put it in a perspective I never even considered. It made it real and doable. And I was being sassy. So yeah, I would definitely do it again.
Awesome. Awesome. I didn't even know you were being sassy. So
I was being sassy.
I must have been oblivious to it. I'm just glad you got it done. That's what I'm excited about. And I'm glad that you had the most productive and profitable revenue generating week after only 4 coaching sessions.
Yes. And that's due to the coaching. I guarantee you that.
And so that is what it's all about. I want to empower entrepreneurs, small business owners to propel and blast their business into the next level of elevation, because God is not a God who is just a God of just enough. He is a God of more than enough. We can't feed the neighbor next door if we can't feed ourselves. And so I want to thank Antwynette for all that she does, everything that you bring to the table, for showing up for you, for investing in you, and for coming to invest this hour in helping Breakthrough for Life reach more people so that we can transform 1 million lives through life coaching in my lifetime. So thank you. I'm honored. I am so honored.
Thank you.
All righty. Antwynette, if you want to dip off, you can. I'm going to do the closing remarks, and you have a fabulous day. Well, ladies and gents, I thank you so much for coming. If you are looking to become a certified life coach, then you want to schedule a discovery call with me, and I will teach you the tools, the strategies, and the skills that I utilize to get transformational results in the lives of other people. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, there we go. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach BU, and my YouTube channel is called Breakthrough with Brenda. Please subscribe. You'll go there. You can find tips on how to do marketing. You can find tips on how to goal achievement, work-life balance. I even have a series in there called I Want to Quit My Job. And I help leaders in corporate transition out of corporate and launch their small businesses and scale them to 6 figures or 7, depending on where you're starting at. So I want to be able to help you craft your winning life and your winning career. So please reach out to me and schedule a free discovery call. That discovery call is 45 minutes. I don't do high pressure sales. We're going to, in that free 45-minute discovery call, we are going to help you map out a clear path to goal achievement through coaching. And then I'm going to present to you an investment. And if you're ready to invest, you're going to have a very significant discount on the coaching program. If you're not ready to invest, then you'll invest at the regular price when you are ready. My goal is to help you win, and I want to be your advocate to help you win at life in every area of life. So I help in one-on-one coaching through workplace exit strategies and barrier breaker programs. The barrier breaker program is designed to help you break through fear, procrastination, and become a productive and proactive man or woman of action. The Workplace exit strategy is designed to help you put together a strategy to leave your job on your terms, making your job optional until it's time to make it obsolete. And then last but not least is the life coaching certification program, which helps you add skills to your talents so that you can be a transformative breakthrough for life coach. And so I look forward to seeing those discovery calls come across my calendar. I am excited about what we're doing in the earth, and I wish you all the bliss and blessings one heart can stand. Peace and love. Bye bye.